So let's see if Google will actually, rather if YouTube will actually allow that clip to play the very beginning of this video. So I'm doing some video editing on my phone, and very different from what you would do on a desktop computer. It's limited, it's a little slower, a little more cumbersome, but it seems to work okay, and I'm hoping that that'll be the genesis of me making more videos that might be a little more interesting. But at this point, I'm just sort of doing my thing right now. Anyway, turned off my radio. I'm looking at my van, and I'm realizing there's some things I need to change with it. They change because my lifestyle, my approach has also changed in the last 3 years. It was in around 2020, the beginning of 2020, oddly enough, the beginning of the pandemic. Not sure if you've heard of it, but it changed everyone's lives and how they go about living their lives and how they feel safe and everything else with it. I'm not going to go into the details and the controversy, just because it's a nebulous thing, especially when you're talking on the internet, or if you're in some cases arguing with somebody on the internet. It, just doesn't make sense. So I'll put that aside. However, so from 2020, that's when I started to build this van out. And if you go back to my original videos, my beginning videos, I started off with a no build, and then I sort of tried stuff out. This van build, especially the bed unit, has been changed, I would say, at least half a dozen times, just because I was looking for a comfortable way to actually put together a bed system. And I did end up getting one that worked out well, and it was comfortable. And my minivan build, my van build is great for a solo traveler. I think that's the number one thing about this thing, is it's extremely comfortable. I could chill out in here indefinitely. I could literally just drive anywhere and just peek out the window and sip my coffee and see what's going on, sort of like what I'm doing right now. I'm just about to start work, so I thought, well, I don't want to go into work right now, and I'm going to just chill out, decompress, maybe add to my little short stories that I'm writing, and also just planning out some of the videos I'd like to do for this year. I think I have some ideas. In the last video, I talked about putting together just very simple tutorial videos on programming. I do have a programming background. I worked in the industry for decades, and the industry is known for burning people out if you're not careful. And if you worked as much as I did, it wasn't really that great. So, however, now I'm much, as I got older, obviously, you learn a lot of these things. So, if you're in your 20s or 30s, if you're in the IT industry, if you don't understand the concept of finding a hobby or something outside of what work you do, try look for it right now, because you'll feel better, believe me, and you'll last longer as well. For myself, I took on a completely different career, because there were three things I needed to make sure I was doing, especially, from the IT industry, from programming. In programming, you're at a desk quite a bit, or hours and hours on end, and you start to pack those pounds, and that's what happened to me. I packed a lot of pounds, upwards of about 300 pounds. So if you're not familiar with my weight loss, my fat loss journey, I do have one. I have an Instagram, so check it out if you're interested. And one of the things, there were three things I wanted to make sure in my next job was: one, I'm constantly moving; two, it isn't highly stressful; and three, that it was something that I could effectively do without being too involved in it. And I don't know what that is for some people. I found my thing. And like anything else, you want to share stuff on the internet, but you don't want to share everything, right? Because it's I mentioned it before, it's just not smart, and that's just unfortunate. We live in a world where people will use your information and extrapolate it and unfortunately do very mean things. And sorry about that. And in my little world, I keep running out of space on my phone. But anyway, I wanted to just chime back in. It's been a while since I posted a video, and I'm still working on some stuff. I am looking at putting together an AC system from rigid HVAC and seeing how I can integrate it in my van. I don't even know how I'm going to do it, but at some point I will and figure something out. The other thing too is, you know, this van is going on to 3 years, and like anything else, things start to break down, and I'm noticing there's this bit of a hum. So it might be the rotors, so that's not a huge deal. That's fixable. But overall, the van has been working fantastic, so I'm very happy with it. I think it's got at least another 100,000 kilometers left in it. I don't drive crazy. I drive very calm and slow. So I treat it very nicely because, you know, it is my little tiny home on wheels. Okay, guys, I just want to say thanks very much for visiting. Just a quick update right there. Nothing really interesting, but me just chilling out in my van and chatting away. And I just want to remind you, and I always say this, I want to remind you that, remember, you're awesome, you could do stuff. And, you know, we all need these reminders, you know, plan out your stuff, execute against it, and get it done. It's difficult sometimes, but I always say start small, right? Start with something simple, something that's manageable, and work on that. And I think that's one of the best ways to get stuff done. It's like sort of like this van, right? I started off with something simple and I just built that on it, and I ended up with this thing. So sometimes I look at it, I'm thinking, I can't believe I built this thing out. You know what? But I did, and that's because I started small, take step by step. And you take even something, putting together a simple resume. You know, start with a blank sheet of paper, save it and close. Rather, digital paper, right? Maybe Microsoft Word or something. And then just start building it out at that point. And there will come a point where you're going to want to keep going, and that's a sweet spot. And that's how things get started. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.